Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Okay, so let's start on this session, and what we want to explain is, what I want to share is how you can apply the dominant dividers, the behavioral engagement triggers, the NLP, the pillar of persuasion into an offer. So if we want to position the offer first, I will assume that I have, this is my main product here. And my main product will be what people pay me money for. So it can be my consultation business, it can be my one-on-one training, it can be my workshop, it can be any kind of service I will provide. Okay? So if I want to bring people here and I would like to meet them somewhere here, what kind of seminar or webinar or lunch and learn or brown bag lunch, I'm not sure why it's brown bag lunch, I would be able to give so I can provide them curiosity to define their problem. It always works with this model that I have here: customer paying, I have client, I have prospects, I have leads, I have target audience, and I have general. So my leads can come here to this seminar, webinar, workshop, information session, whatever you want to call it, video clip on my website, video share on my Facebook Live or my LinkedIn. Okay? Do you have any questions on the nature of this particular access point or event? Then, if you have people who are upsold here, this will be return customers. If you have other offer for people who are referring other customers to you, and you may have for the retired or people who are not anymore, you can have something for them. You can have more than one line per stage. Because I am visual, I prefer to work in this way. Okay. If you are not visual, you have to visualize yourself. No, sorry, don't say visualize yourself. If you are visual, if you are audible, you have to figure out what you want to do. So you can have more than one offer. So for example, Mike has multiple offers. So his multiple offers can be positioned as in one of two ways. We call it the, let's call it the brown way and the orange way. So I can have multiple offers as general, preferred, VIP, special VIP, whatever levels I have. So I can have one offer where I will provide tiered pricing. I can also have different offers, so I can provide bookkeeping, I can provide accounting as two separate offers, and all of them will go to this. Does it make sense? I can also provide an audit. If you have audit, you can provide. So it doesn't matter what kind of offer you have. What I am interested to know is what are these offers. This offer classification is very important. If I want to describe this offer, I have to describe it based on benefits. And we talk about this now because this is what we will use inside our mini presentation. So what are the benefits for my offer? So what are the criteria for benefits? It will be benefit relevant to dollars, benefit relevant to relationship, benefit relevant to process information, benefit relevant to time. That's right. So if I get your service, what benefits I will receive? And these benefits are what? Are end of journey results. Like if I have a customer here for 2 years, how he will look like. If I have an engagement with a client for a year, how he will look like. So these benefits are end of journey results. Make sense? Any questions? And I should also plan some of the features. So what are the features of your offer, this offer here? What are the features of this offer? Is it online workshop? Do you have a book? Do you have, what else do you have? Do you have one-on-one? Do you have a video library? What do you have as features relevant to this offer? So I'm talking about this offer here. And you should be able to describe it in benefits and in features. And we have one workbook. That's right. We have one few sheets on how to design the product. Now, the question will be, what about this introduction presentation? The introduction presentation shall not share the same benefits as the product. The introduction presentation shall have its own benefits and its own features. So for the introduction presentation, I must have their own benefits and it must have its own features. Does it make sense? So what is the benefit of an introduction presentation now? People will buy when they will know they have a problem. That's right. People will buy when they understand that you are a solution. So what is the benefit of this presentation will be?
Discover something you didn't know. 5 things you didn't know.
Yeah. So discover, diagnosing, process. 5 things you don't know, 3 things you don't know, 7 things you don't know. Why 3, 5, 7? Why not 4? Because Walmart made a study and they found out that people in North America will resonate better to 3, 5, and 7. If you are giving this presentation in Europe, you must have 4 or 8. Because somebody else in UK made a study and find out that people will resonate better with 4. So if you give a presentation in Canada, US,
Aren't those lucky numbers in Japan too? 4 and 8?
7 and 8, not 4.
7 and 8?
And in Judaism, 8 is a special number because 8 is the safer. So it's very interesting cultural discussion about what numbers.
8 is a what?
Is the safer. The 8th guy is always the lucky because the 8th in their beliefs, the 8th day.
The savior.
It will save you. The savior.
A savior. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the saver.
I thought you said safer.
No, the
Sorry.
saver. The
Okay.
saver comes on 8.
Yeah, if you're talking the general population, but the population that I work with, they believe in numerology. So there are numbers like 22, 33, repeating numbers, 11. Like if you almost price it to, this is an $11 webinar, they'll be driven to it. It's quite interesting how they do it.
And these are culturally driven information. So if you stand in London, give a presentation, you talk about 4, you have 4 bullets per slide, you will be very close to close. They always see this.
I can tell by the license plate number which ethnic group is driving that car right now.
Because of age or Chinese.
You know it. Right?
So this is some of the information, extra information. However, what I want to confirm in your mind here is when I will come to this seminar or webinar or this intro event, it must be a standalone event. I'm using the word must. It must be one touch point where I will take all values. And all values come from the concept of reciprocity. So if I will give one workshop for 90 minutes or one seminar for 15 minutes to 90 minutes, whatever duration you wanna make it, it's up to you. I must give you enough value, enough information for you to diagnose the problem where I can offer you a solution for. And this is the illustration and establishment of the concept of reciprocity. I give you all the information I need. So titles like the 5 barriers or the 3 barriers or the 3 mistakes or the 5 mistakes or will work out well with the title. Okay? Make sense? Make sense? Okay. So coming here, we have to ask, so if I have a seminar or a presentation, how can I start a presentation? Like, what is the very first things I would say in a presentation? Let's start with Nader because everybody knows what I'm talking about.
For the presentation, you just bring something that makes everybody think about it.
So, in a presentation, when you start, we talk about a hook.
Yeah.
So, we should start first with a hook. We must not start with the title of the presentation.
Not the title, just something that
Just the hook.
just to make.
When I will stand on, if I assume I will be in a seminar or a webinar, I must have an MC to introduce me. And the MC will do the introduction. We'll talk about what? We'll talk about the title, and we'll talk a little bit about intro of the presenter. So do I need to come back and say, today I will talk about this title?
No, because it has been done already.
Okay? If you don't have on your webinar somebody to present you, reach to us, or we can help, because you can create a recorded audio of somebody in a different domain and you basically play it for your seminar. Like when you start on your webinar, you can play an audio of someone introducing you. So if you don't have access to somebody sitting beside you in the webinar, if you do live webinar, you can always have a recording. And now we introduce this particular topic with a fabulous speaker, so and so.
You can always pre-record the video and play it as ahead of your audio, or even if you have a beginning introduction video before you go in there, it would be there.
So, what will be a good hook?
Statistic,
So statistics
anecdotes.
can be a good hook. Video can be a good hook. Personal story could be a good hook, which I don't recommend.
No?
For a reason I'll explain it later. So, can each one of you write down a hook? What is the hook which will resonate with your customers? So what could be a hook? Mike, this will be a review for you, that's right? Because what could be a hook? Sorry?
I wrote. You want me to tell you?
Yeah, have.
What I would say, I'll start out. 80% of deficiency in the schedule. So I'm talking about something that can.
It doesn't matter. What? So can you say it?
80% of deficiency in your schedule is stored from the data.
Okay. Mike, what's yours?
I went more with the tagline. Our tax is stressing you out.
Okay. So Mike is using a different technique, which basically asking questions. Okay. So the issue was asking questions. But before the issue, let's just go through the everybody, and then we can come back and just discuss each one of these approaches. So, is taxes stress you out is a way for a hook. Mariana, do you want to share?
Yeah, I forgot the percentage, but percentage. So many percent of people are on antidepressants in Canada, and antidepressant use is only higher in.
So let's just keep it to the statistics. So the statistics said some percentage, high percentage in Canada have antidepressant. Shamir, what is the hook you have?
Mine is so there's a webinar that I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks. It's called Reversing Your Aging Process. And
So do you want me? You are telling me that this is good review for the webinar?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
So the hook is age is directly related to the length of your telomeres, which is an aspect of your cellular framework.
Okay. So let's just.
Ages, la 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 la. What? What did you say?
You see? Did I get your attention?
No, you lost me.
That's good. So now you're going to say, what does he mean by that?
There's a lot of
Hey,
words.
did you sign up for my webinar?
No.
Who cares then?
So can you repeat again, please?
So age is directly related to the length of your telomeres. Telomeres are an aspect of your cellular framework, your cells.
So
Telomeres or telemeres?
Telomeres.
Telemeres.
so this would be a sample of a hook. Now, before we proceed, what should we say? So everything you should have would be in blue. Everything in the template will be in brown. So what we talk about hook, we don't tell our customers or our audience. And my hook now is, okay? We don't say that. We say, okay, I will tell you the hook
My
first.
hook is
I'm hooking you now, okay?
Pay attention. This is a hook.
Okay, so what is the value of each one, and what's the pros and cons against each one of these hooks? When I start with a question, I will be engaging mainly with people who are processing the information. Because if I am a relationship, I will be
Personal story.
yes, you got it. If you said this, you can leave now. It's done for you. It's right. In a relationship, I will hate questioning. Because question means interrogation. That's right. If I am a time sensitive guy and I'm looking for urgency, what questions will do for me? Will make me to work.
At least that's the.
So I don't like it. If somebody is in, sorry Mike to pick you first, and somebody in value, it has less credibility. Or it could be neutral. That's right. So this is on questions. What about the reaction for a personal story or a video? Personal story or a video could fulfill everything because it's like 2 minutes or so. Make sense? What about statistic? When I come and I say a statistic? Who will appreciate a statistic?
Time and process.
Time people will appreciate
Yeah.
statistics. That's right. Process will appreciate statistics. Relationship will be neutral too.
That's right.
And what about credibility people? So if I come and say, who said your statistics, please?
I think that
Yeah?
Age is directly related to the length of your telomeres.
Who said so? Who did the study?
It was some professor who won a Nobel Peace Prize.
James Brown.
Okay, so
James what?
James Brown.
Okay.
so according
Mr.
to
Mackey.
according to so and so, according to the epidemic disease research done by the Center for Infectious Disease in the US, each one of us will go to the doctor for 13 times unnecessary because we basically have stress, don't have physical pain. So they recorded that in Canada, you go 13 times for doctor while you need only one visit. This will give me immediate credibility here because I will credit the source. So I don't mind, I don't care, to be honest with you guys, which one you will do it here. However, I always bias toward, because my personal story will have another place. There's another area here when I will talk about my authority. Second thing is, if you don't know how can I help you, will you care about who I am?
Yeah.
If you said no, you will avoid automatically this too. So when speakers stand and talk about the problems they had this week or who were helping this week, and they wake up from their room and this what happened or where they were last week, and they have this fun, they try to make fun to engage the audience, they engage them. However, they don't engage their subconscious mind for their credibility. Here I want to engage my audience in a way to mindlessly comply with my offer at the end. Okay? Make sense? So we need to know who is the who will be the reference for this particular. Okay? Did you find it?
Elizabeth Blackburn,
Who is Elizabeth Blackburn?
professor in the Department of Biochemistry, and she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Yeah.
Now, you have also to be careful that if you will talk about Elizabeth, do you have a friend called Olivia?
Olivia,
Yeah?
I have a Facebook friend called Olivia.
That's good because Olivia is a very common name in Canada.
Okay, okay. But he's Olivia. Well, she's alive, so, but she doesn't do what I do, so it's
And
safe.
this is some issues you have to understand. If I am $100,000 customer, potential customer to you in the room, or $1 million customer in the room, and I will quote somebody alive, a person who is alive, and guess what? He has a similar competing program to mine. $100,000 customer will pay you or will go to the source.
May go to that source.
Will go, not may, but may I love May.
Yeah.
I love May. You know, May flowers.
Yeah.
May.
Because he has the budget to go to that.
Yes. So, people who look for credibility here will proceed to these people.
So you have to be careful.
That's why when somebody stands on the stage and talk about Tony Robbins and quotes and Brian Tracy quotes and these things, I love it. I love it. and I'll tell you how many people in the room will buy from them, not from Tony Robbins. So people who like the credibility, they like the money, they have the money, they have the resources, will not come to you. And you have to be honest and agree on that. That's why Statistics Canada is a very good place to go. Center for Infectious Diseases in the US, they do all medical material. Canada Health, areas where there is a credible source of information, it immediately play with your credibility, and it will also make, if you have the statistics which nobody knew about it, people will say, wow, you got them hooked. We always, in my previous approaches, I always talk about the following. I always say, this particular sequences, you must understand, there are 5 phases. So there is phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you should have the sequence here first, and then make it better, and better, and then here you are ready. So you are not ready with this particular 2 hours or 3 hours we'll spend together on this to go and give it life. You have to make it better. But I will skip into pieces of it. So if I start with the hook, so what was your hook?
Statistics Canada says so many % of people are on antidepressants.
Are on antidepressant, okay? So this is the hook. What should I say next? I should say why is important. Why is statistics important?
Why is what important?
The statistics is important.
The statistic itself?
No, what
or
she said.
What she said, yeah.
So what she said is important because I can talk about the negative impact of the antidepressant. That's right. Remember the formula. Always what, why, and how to apply it. And on how to apply it, you should kick in what we call it story
Case.
or case study. People will only relate to stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? People will only relate to stories.
They remember that.
Why they always remember that?
Because they have similar cases in their own life, maybe.
Not really, but why people always remember stories? Because stories around fire were the very first way for us to exchange information, and we keep this habit from our ancestry. Ages before our electricity and power, people will sit around fires to only do what? Tell stories. So stories are known as the most effective communication way for our lifetime. Okay? Now, how I will tell the story? The story is what? It's the stool. And the stool will have 3 legs. Pain points, defining moment, happy outcome. Okay? So, if we want to apply this concept, can you pick up your own hook? And can you explain why is it important? And you are doing the exercise right now. So the exercise right now is pick up your own hook. It doesn't matter what's the hook. The hook can be like babies poops like 5 times a day. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what's the hook. But just I want to get you through the exercise. So if you have a program, you can use a hook from your program. If you don't have a program, just pick up any hook and let's just do the exercise so you can understand what's the value of this framework. So pick up another piece of paper if you like, write your hook, and say after your hook why it's important. Now, importance means what for people's life? Importance can come with how many facets of importance in your life?
Sorry. Hey.
The importance are the same. Things are important value-wise and money. Things are important for relationship. Things are important for effective, efficient process. And things are important for time for results. There is nothing important. So what was your hook, Nader?
80% of deficiencies are in the schedule.
So 80% of deficiency are in the schedule.
Cost.
So when people don't know how to schedule and the process of the proper scheduling, they will spend more time
Cost.
and they will cost them dramatic amount of dollars which they can save.
Exactly. That's the point.
And then they can get frustrated, and people can lose their jobs, and we go out of business where we will not have income.
Right there.
Okay? And I'm here to share you the story of Tom, the owner of Tom Business, who was doing wrong scheduling. He was losing material. He doesn't have access to equipment. He cannot fulfill his demand of his customers. And when he joined my program, he was able to reschedule in a different way. He had resistance to accept this way, but once he put his heads around it, he was able to schedule in a better way, and he was able to close down a happy customer and deliver $1 million contract. Make sense?
The story goes around that.
The story about how they joined your program. So when you do this at this stage, inside the hook you are telling what? That you have a program. So Shamir, what will be your structure here?
I have a client thing, so I wasn't paying attention, sorry.
Oh, okay, are you doing?
Just for about 20 minutes.
Go to the office?
Thanks.
Just close the door so nobody will be. Okay. So, Mariana, what's your
Well, so one of my clients is a young Mormon lady, and she was sexually abused by an uncle. And the Mormons having big family gatherings, and every time she's going to these family gatherings, she's feeling really depressed and stressed, and that's why she went on antidepressants, and made her feel numb, and because of it, she started overeating and gaining a lot of weight.
So, can you pause?
Yeah.
When you illustrate these pain points,
Yeah.
what's happening in your mind now? Can you relate to these pain points in your life or somebody in your life?
Not really.
No, but when she talk about numb, overeating,
Yeah, it's stress people do that.
yeah. So does this relate? So the point I want to stress here is this is the right pain points. You should emphasize and expand on these pain points.
Mm-hmm.
So the more I relate to this pain point, the more I will wonder of what the solution.
The solution is
Okay, keep going. Sir.
Okay. So when she joined my program, she was able to get off the antidepressants and go back to her regular weight, and now she can go to the meetings, the family gatherings, and she is happy and at peace, and she can enjoy the family gatherings.
So this is the shell. This is the shell of the happy outcome and pain. Now, if I can reposition my pain points based on my audience. So if my audience are young moms, I will say she was depressed, she took antidepressants, so she started to eat more, she became overweight, she now cannot chase behind her kids, she cannot play with her kids outside because she has a mobility issues, and guess what, she will oversleeping, she cannot feed her kids. Okay, if I am in front of a different ages, like older age or wise age, I would say now she become overweight, she cannot attend her kids parties, she cannot invite her kids friend to house parties because she cannot take care of the house, she cannot take care of how to manage the parties while if I want to move forward to another age, I will say she had antidepressant, she eats more, she gained weight, now she cannot move easily, she had pain all over, she cannot chase behind her grandkids. When her grandkids will come to the door at her house, they say hi grandma, hi grandpa, she barely answer from the room, and she has spent so much time because of the overweight. This is how you can make I know it's not the optimal example, but this is how you can relate these points to the audience. So if I am in front of audience who are in specific age, I use this. Make sense? So do you wanna give an example? Do you wanna play?
That's really, I don't have anything the way that Mariana has something to say. But the one thing is when you put your hand in the pain point of the people you get their attention.
Yeah, but you mentioned you have an issue with the scheduling.
Yeah.
And I explained to you how it's important.
Yeah.
Do you have a success story of somebody you work with in your past life?
That's exactly what it is, where you optimize your schedule and you get to...
Yeah, but can you name a company or a client?
Well...
or an work environment?
Yeah, the work environment was...
Or a project?
Or it was a project, yeah. It was actually a project that we were doing for Devon at the time, and we just optimized the schedule in the right way. We avoid a lot of costs that was occurring to us if we were not doing that.
That's awesome. Can you don't use a lot and use a
numbers, yeah.
quantity
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a number?
Yeah, you have to have a numbers. Yeah, I understand that. You have
Okay.
to have a numbers. Be specific. That like you have been able to save like $600,000 on that project, which was overall was like $4.5 million.
Yep.
That's what it says.
So
it says that 10% or 5%. Usually by percentage would be a lot better.
So
We'll fit it.
as long as you have this, you should fulfill the hook.
No.
Mike, do you wanna play with the hook? Or are you out of space? Up to you. It's not an approach.
No.
Okay. So the question will be after that is, okay, so how do I start? So if I have a PowerPoint presentation, what I would do is I can have one slide on the hook. I can have a second slide on why it's important. And I can have one slide for the story. Or I can have only one slide and it tells the rest by my voice.
Tell the rest is better.
No, there is nothing better. Okay.
Is that better?
There is nothing better. Each one has its own advantage and disadvantage. So, for visual people, they like to.
See.
So when you have more visualization, means what? More engagement. So there is nothing better. If you go with the same presentation to different audience, you will be able to. You cannot have this because the story will be based on the audience.
Yeah.
So if I have a signature presentation where I will go only,
First two.
yeah. If I have a presentation where I will use it for 20 minutes and 90 minutes at the same time, I will not be able for the 20 minutes to have this too. So I have to speak about it. So we cannot judge, is it good or bad? What we can judge is we let the judgment for our audience. Now, if your system, like using chakra therapy or using biowell or using, there is nothing wrong of mentioning here what they were using. If your system has a name, you can say the name as a defining moment. And when they use this, when they applied, they achieve this. Make sense? Okay. Now, if you have more time, you can have multi-stories. There is nothing wrong with having different extra stories if you have time.
You don't get tired?
As long as you are telling stories and the stories are very well structured, they will not get tired. They get tired only when they have to jump in their mind from place to place.
So stories or cases are getting the acceptance of the people who
Yes.
listen.
And at the end of the story, you can tell them if you want to get them to appreciate it, what you will say. Do you agree? Like,
Just why do you agree?
oh yeah, if you ask, do you agree or can you relate? So when I come after the story and say, can you relate, guys? Raise your hand if you agree. You'll be shocked. If you get people to agree here that somebody has these pain points, use your system, achieve this happy outcome, and they agree, what does it mean? But you cannot use it that often because you have to be careful, that's right?
Yeah, you cannot use it so often. And
So often. But if I start and say, so and so using Psych K, she got this outcome. So and so using BioWell using this outcome.
But if you say
Do you agree?
If you say at this
And-
stage they continue to listen to you perfectly after that.
And all what does it take is what? One question.
Yeah.
Now, when Mike will be live on the webinar, what he will say? If you guys agree, write agree or type yes in the comments. So if I am doing this on a webinar, and I never ever in my life standed and presented this from this perspective, because I usually go and say, here is the first cycle, second cycle, but now I'm trying to work out all the cycle to give you an example how these cycles can be influenced. So when I get their commitment here, I say, do you agree? In person, I will say, do you agree? On a webinar, what I can do? I cannot do voice in a webinar because everybody will be talking, will be noisy. So what I will do on the webinar?
Type in the chat box.
Type in the chat box. So what you want them to type? Yes
Yes.
or agree?
Or tell me more.
No, I agree
No,
as well.
you cannot. Because you want to get them to like it. You want to get them,
Appreciation stage.
like the appreciation and likeness is here.
Sure, okay.
That's right. What I like about the chat line is it also what? Commitment. When commitment will happen? When you write it down. Okay? Some speakers will go around and say, and write in your notebook besides the first question, I agree. So they will have a notebook or a workbook and it will have some questions. Like sometimes we have the very common example is there is no space in books. All the space around the book. There is no money in books. All the money is around the activities, are in the activities around the book. So some speakers will have this template and will ask you to write the word money, to write the word activity. What they do when you write it in your workbook? They are getting you to like it and they are getting your commitment. There is nothing done in any workshop or seminar which does not meet this criteria. Full stop. So, if you have this as the hook, this will be the first step. The way classically, if you have access to the video recording we have, you will see this seminar will not, or this workshop will not having this depth. It always have, you will do the hook here. You will talk about why is importance here and why people are using. You can tell a story here. You will get the engagement here, and then you will match the audience story here. These are the 5 cycles. But here I'm giving the 5 steps so Mariana and people who have been in this program before don't get confused. Okay? These are like copywriting. There is no chance. There is no, you have no experience. And in this step, which is step number 1, how many of this piece, what's the percentage of this piece is selling? And what's the percentage of this piece as information? Because what we are trying to do is, on the front end here, our customers are seeing us here. So what we want to look in front of our customer? Reciprocity. Information.
Yeah,
but our banks are here. So what we want to do in the bank? We want to convert, that's right? So how many percent, what's the percentage here of selling versus information? Are you selling your program here? In these statements?
2 out of 3 at least.
So when you talk about
Hook and the result up the story, how to apply.
the story is 100%
So,
selling.
yeah,
The percentage is giving you the social
that's
proof.
that is selling.
That's right.
2 of them at least is selling.
But if you are sitting in the room, will you learn that if somebody has these pain points, can achieve a good result? You are learning this right now, that's right?
Yes.
And you are learning by example. So is this selling to you? The answer is no. So this is what we call it selling in the subconscious mind, or smoothly selling without without having an obvious selling. And you cannot use this in the US. This is only for Canada. People in the US are very aggressive, more than that. So these techniques here, when you sell in this way, you educate them, you give them good examples, people will not feel you are a seller and they are a buyer. They will feel that you are an educator.
So what are they doing different in the US? You said more aggressive?
Yeah, they are more aggressive. They always talk about how they buy, and it's different style.
You have to be more clear with them.
More aggressive,
Direct.
more aggressive on the selling.
Is that right? More direct to them?
Yeah. But in Canadian and North America, in Canada and in particular Western Canada, these techniques works very well. Because people need to learn. They don't need to be sold. They may make a decision of buying.
Interesting.
Okay? So I will start. I will not say anything other than the hook. I can walk to the room, the lights can be shiny on me. Or I can stand, and when you stand, you can listen to my podcast, which I call Hook Your Audience by Silent. So when you stand to the stage here, you don't start to talk. You have to settle first, give eye contact to few people. If you have a room of 10 people, you can have an eye contact with each one of them. They will open up, and then you start to say the hook. Some people will come and will be doing actions like having like juggling balls and stuff like that to hook them, and then start to give the statistics. Some people will stand and look and just have their hand, and when everybody is connecting with their eyes, they will open up and then start with the hook. We don't apologize. We don't thank the host. We don't affirm the obvious. We don't say it's shiny outside and we sit here in this damn basement and there is no sunlight here. Nobody cares. Everybody knew this. We don't say, oh, you are tired now and you are having the last presentation before you and the lunch or you and the coffee break. Don't say that. Because when people open up for you, my coach used to tell me, they open their skull, exposing their brain to your wisdom. And your wisdom is not about the coffee break. Your wisdom is about the hook. Make sense? So having a hook, which is what you are talking about, why is this hook, why is it important? Why this problem is important? The importance will have the factors of dollars, value, relationship, process, time. How somebody can apply it will be one story. You can have more than one story if you like, and the story has to be adaptive to the audience. You will not be able to achieve the whole presentation at once. What you should focus on is just filling parts, and then the second part and the third part. But I want to just give you the whole view to visualize how you can do it. Make sense? Okay, so what is the second point? So here we have at least 1 or maybe 5 slides. I will have 1 slide if I'm giving 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Maybe 2 slides when I have a different audience. If I have 45 minutes to 90 minutes, I can give 3 slides to 5. It doesn't matter. Okay? Then what will be the next point after the hook? The next point, start with blue. The next point we always talk about, we call it info nuggets. So can you talk about info nuggets or information describing the ideal client and the ideal customer of yours? What's the pinpoint?
No time.
So no time could be one. So you can talk about, and you know that the average business owner has no time. That's right. Now, what I will do with the info nuggets, same approach. Why it's important? And what's the third one? How to use it. Which is what? Story with 3 legs.
Where does that fall into place? Does that fall into place below the other part?
After the hook.
Or are we doing this all over again?
What we are doing here, remember when we talk about the presentation, we talk about 5 different cycles or iteration on every presentation. We start with mini presentation, and then we add more information, we add stories, we make it engaged by asking you, can you relate or whatever, and then we can adapt the stories to different audience. So here what I'm showing is the 5 cycles of one step. So the very first step is a hook.
Okay.
What I will do in the hook, I will say why it's important. I can tell 1 to 2 stories. Start with 1, you can have 2 stories. If I want to lay it down on a PowerPoint slide, it will be 1 slide for the hook minimum, and I can talk about the others. I can have 1 slide for why it's important with an image on it, and then I can have 1 slide for the story.
So you're using 3 hook topics?
This is 1 hook.
Just 1.
And I'm explaining the hook.
And then you're going to go into the second one on the next page?
The second one is the info nuggets.
It's
Info
not
nugget.
another hook.
No, it's an info nuggets. It's just education. Info nuggets 1.
Okay.
If you have the booklets, It will be info nugget 1, info nugget 2, info nugget 3.
Okay.
I have a
Yeah.
I have a sample of the booklet. I can bring it from the.
I think I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will give you more information. What's this information? How I will say the information?
So where was info nugget number 1? Or
You said business owners don't feel they have time.
No, the second number 2 is
Where's
one
number 1?
is hook.
So number 1 is
2
the
is
hook.
One was the hook. Number 2 is info nuggets 1.
Info nugget.
Oh, okay.
Then it has 2A, 2B
Okay.
is the breakdown of funding.
I never thought about 2A, 2B, 2C. I always make it 3, 4, and 5. But I learned from you something today. I appreciate it. Because when I was designing these structures, I never thought about having 2A, 2B, 2C. I thought like 1, 2, 3, 4, and people, because the way I'm doing it is when I stand here, I will walk you through my house. So I will store the hook inside my closet besides the entry door. And then after the entrance, we go to the dining table to the right. So I will have my info nugget in the dining, one in the dining table. And then I have my kitchen, where's the info nugget 2. And then after that, I have the dining table, the nook. This will be where info nugget 3 is. And then my title will not allow you to come to the washer and dryer in the front. And then who I am, it will be in the washroom beside it. And then when you turn left, you will have the living room.
Conclusion is that.
And the living room is where is challenges and the core business. And then I will turn left and go to the formal room where I have my offer. That's why I can give the presentation without even notes, because I said enough in my house, and I will go and I will read or I will repeat every single statement in these locations. So when I stand in front of people, I just basically give them a journey inside my house. They don't know the journey. I know the house. I never tell them.
Well, you know where you are, and
And that's why I know where I am, and that's why I can be organized. That's why when somebody took me to a tangent, I can come back and see, in front of this chair, this is what was said. If you trust your intuition and you trust your human power, don't question it, don't doubt it, you will be able to do it. This is what I learned. So what will be the 3 info nuggets? So literally we have in the same structure, number 3, I have to use my schedule, okay, sorry. But I will, I appreciate what I learned from you today. Might be for you a very small thing, but for me it's a huge thing. Because I was doing this for 3 years and a half. I never thought about having it 2 ABC.
No. The reason is I did it that way, 1, 2, 3, and then I confused it. Then I cannot come back later.
I know.
So I have to subdivide it. Then I can
I know.
and correct it.
I know. So I highlight. Nobody gave me this comment before.
I did.
ABC.
Yeah, because it's 3. The nuggets are 3 consecutive.
It can be 3 nuggets. It can be 2 nuggets. It can be 5 nuggets. It depends on the time of the procedure.
Sure.
Each one of the nuggets will have what? Will have why.
Yeah.
And will have how to use it, which is at least the story. And the story, the stool of 3 legs, will have why, and then it will have
The stories.
a story, and the story of 3 legs. I'm
So
repeating.
how to use it is the story.
How to use it is the story.
Okay.
When I come to the offer, how it's used, it will be what? Your personal problem. Does the framework works now with you? Like, can you see? So I'm giving by the story an example of how to solve this problem. Now, what are the most effective information nuggets I need? It comes back to the following. Do you see these benefits? The red ones?
Mm-hmm.
This is why people buy from you. And this is what they pay money for. That's right?
Think of it as intangible.
So people come, you come here for the benefit of learning, that's right?
Right.
How much money you will pay me for the benefit of learning? None. But when I offer you and say it's 1 hour, $1 an hour one-on-one, or it's a 6-hour workshop for $1, or it's a yearly, monthly subscription for $1, whatever numbers is, that's right? You will pay me for the subscription. But are you coming for the subscription or are you coming for the benefit?
You come for the benefit.
For the benefits. So here's the red benefits, which is the longevity and the end results benefits. So what the information nuggets should look like? Information nuggets first has to be painful. So first one, it has to be based, all of them has to be based on pain. Why in pain? Because somebody in America made a study, found out that people now will buy, 90% of people will buy for pain and 10% will buy on pleasure. That's it. I don't need to recreate the wheels, right? Don't reinvent the wheels, right? So what are the natures of these information nuggets? So I will go back to your program and ask the question, what are the 4 benefits of your programs? And each one of these nuggets shall cover at least 1 or 2 pain points of your program. Which comes from where? From here. So people don't have money, people don't have relationship, people don't understand the process, people don't have time. In nutshell. Okay? So do you have information relevant that's people suffering from time? Do you have information relevant that's people suffering from relationship? In the extreme of what you are doing in particular, and usually when we have a newcomer, we focus on him because each one of us knows each one other.
You know each other.
Yeah, so I'm putting you as a life example here. So the problem of not having the proper schedule is the employees will be frustrated. And what they will do when they are frustrated? They will not perform in work and they most likely find another employers. So your core delivery wheel will be gone. Have you ever think about that? What I said? As this came as one of the most important factors in why you do proper scheduling?
You just want to get everything done to perform.
You want to make sure that the employees who deliver or the workers who are delivering are having the right environment to perform to their best. And when I have a very shitty scheduling, sorry to use the language, and I don't have the equipment on time, the material on time, people who are doing the work will have no trust. They will be frustrated. They will not be happy coming to work. And when they will find the other job, they will switch to it. And you'll basically lose the most educated, most talented people that you invest in it so long to teach them your system. And now you have to have another one. This, if I want to talk about relationship.
No, the only thing that was coming to my mind because of the cases that goes through my mind is the relationship at the top or is it at the lower place? Because
It's based on who you talk to. If you talk to HR,
yeah,
relationship will be the first.
yeah.
If you talk to the CEO, it will be last.
Yeah.
But my point to you, you must speak it out or talk it out somewhere in the dialogue. Somewhere you should be able to talk about 4 statements or 4 sentences. They can be very long sentences as 2 pages long, okay? It doesn't matter, but you should be able to talk about 4 segments touching each one. Relationship of the employees with themselves, relationship with the boss with the employees. Like remember what's his name? They're doing change management. What's his name?
Who?
Oh, Claude.
Claude.
Clue. Yeah.
So Claude will be talking about change management. So he talks about the boss and the management and the workers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what relationship with your wife, relationship with it doesn't matter what relationship. It's a conduit between human and a couple of humans, bunch of humans, or with yourself.
Yeah, we call it stakeholder relationship. That's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A stakeholder relationship.
Stakeholder relationship. It's another
That's
way.
what they call it.
It's another way.
We have it.
It's another way. So how to pick up these info nuggets? They have to be painful. And they have to relate to the benefit of what you're offering. And you should be able to have a story which has pain point, defining moment, and happy outcome relevant to. So small business owners usually don't have time, usually pressured for time. And the pressuring for time means, this is what pressuring for time means, you'll not be able to focus on your work, you'll not be able to meet your commitment, you'll drive as nuts all around town, and you'll panic when you have traffic lights red in front of you. And guess what? When construction on the road, you want to jump from your car to the river because you cannot make it to your meeting because you don't have enough meetings. And I had Joe LeBlanc when he was frustrated, he found himself traveling, cruising all over the way, and he's always back late on his taxes and filing, and he doesn't know why, and he was just frustrated with everything in his life. I met him in the coffee shop. I told him, you know what, I can take care of you, and there is a system called Mike April, or you can go to April Solutions, and we'll take care of you. We'll provide you with all the tools required. We'll show you what you need to fix in your business. And when he applied this tool, it took him 2-3 months to get on board, and in 6 months, or I can tell you 9 months almost, he was able to save $4,000 or $5,000. And the story has to be true. Like, I'm making the stories on my feet right now, but the story has to be true. He was making five times $5,000 saving on his taxes, but guess what? He does not drive frustrated anymore because he has more time now to devote to build his business. And he has more time that he will go 15 minutes before every meeting, waiting for his customers. And his customer became so pleased with his commitment, and they give him more work. So he hired 2 more employees. Do you agree that you want to build a business similar to this, to Joe LeBlanc? Raise your hand if you agree that this is a nice business model. You are almost raising your hand. Do you see how the compliance can happen? So when I tell people raise your hand, people will raise. And there will be some people in the room talking to each other. They didn't even look at you. But the minute you raise your hand and everybody in the room raise their hands, and you keep quiet, guess what?
They follow their heart.
They will raise their hand, and when they put their hand down, what will happen? They will connect back to you. Okay? Now, what would be the information nugget 2? Can you give me nugget 2? Relationship. So what the small business owner relationship will be? Relationship with his wife, relationship with himself, relationship with his kids, with his family.
Better communication with clients.
Better communication with clients. This all can be examples of relationship. I can have these 5 nuggets independently. So I need here 3, but I have 5 just from 1 on relationship. Just use 1. So Bill, every time he goes to work, he comes back home, he took his clothes off, he became naked, he stands in front of the mirror and asks himself, why I'm doing this for myself? Why do I have this entrepreneur business? It's just a very weird one, okay? Every time he stands in front of the mirror, look at his face, he blames this guy across of the mirror from him for having this decision, making a business decision to just work for himself. He is frustrated, he doesn't have a group to belong to, he has no accountability partner, he doesn't get work to be done on time, he sleeps all over. How many of you here guys blame themselves for being a small business owner? Can you raise your hand? Everybody in the room will blame themselves. So now they conquer with what? With the pain point. Now what they are telling us? They have the same point. If you are standing in front of audience who agree that they have the same pain points, what's next for them to sign up? Just position a irresistible offer. Make sense? What could be the third info nugget? It could be around time to delivery. It could be around efficient and process. So how many business owner here has a process to collect? You can see the information nugget as question, or you can see it as a statement. So how many of you here have an implemented process to retain and to collect invoices and receipts? effectively and efficiently. How many of you here know the cash flow position at this moment? I don't see anybody raising their hand. So small business owners usually don't give attention to the process because they are busy trying to deliver. And because they are busy trying to deliver, they will not be able to run the business from the back. And they will lose on potential claims, and they will lose on recovering taxes they shouldn't pay. So, and you give an example of Lily. Lily was a makeup artist. You don't work with makeup artists. Lily was a makeup artist, and she was always in the salon doing makeup and enjoy her passion. And when CRA sent her a letter, she didn't have any material to back up her information. And when she heard about our advertisement in Cool 101, or she interacted with us on Facebook group, and she was asking the question, and when I provide her free help, she asked for a meeting, and when we met together, I showed her our system, and guess what? It took her 2 minutes to pay me the first deposit. It was no-brainer for her to join. Do you agree, guys? If they say yes, it means what?
You're signing to.
Most likely. We don't know yet because we have no offer. Is this helpful, guys? So, what are the info nuggets? They are rational to the benefit of your end of journey. Not, we talked about two benefits. We talked about the red benefits, and we talk about the brown benefits, right? So the info nuggets will be relevant to the red benefits, will be rational to the end of journey. So what you did till right now is you engaged your audience on what? You engage your audience on what is their intention of this particular presentation. You get their agreement that this is what they need to see at the end of your program. In a different model, if you watch my video, it's called Mindless Compliance, you will see we talk about selected attention. This is here, I overcome the selected attention. I overcome the biased interpretation. I get all of them to agree that these are important for them. Okay? Should I proceed? So what will be number 5? Number 5 is the title. And I'm here to talk to you about, and you put the title. The title will be, the title which I like, the top 5 challenges for the step-by-step system. Sorry, the top 5 challenges. Sorry, the mistakes whatever should avoid. So the title which I like is that the top 5 challenges for. What's your solution? Project management or scheduling.
Yeah.
The mistakes every manager should avoid. The mistakes every CEO should avoid. The mistakes every business owner should avoid. The mistakes every small business owner should avoid. The mistake every...
Is the mistake right word? You're telling them that you do a wrong thing correctly?
I did not tell anybody wrong thing.
No, you tell them when you say mistake, you say that what you do is a mistake.
The mistakes that every whoever should avoid. Every CEO should avoid. I'm not talking about them yet. I'm talking about everybody else should avoid. Okay?
Depending on your audience.
It depends on your audience. So if you stand in front of nurses, it will be the top 5 or 3 based on how long you have. So if you have 20 minutes, it will be 3. If you have 90 minutes, it will be 5. If you have 3 days workshop, 3 hours workshop, it can be 9. It can be 7. It can be whatever. So when I say the mistake every nurse should avoid, or every caregiver should avoid, or every home caregiver should avoid, or I demonstrate what? I demonstrate
That I have a program.
I have problem, and people like them will learn from me. And number 6, it's supposed to.
Are these 2 different questions?
No, this is our title and subtitle.
Okay.
So this is the title and this is the subtitle.
Okay.
And you don't need to read the subtitle. You may just have it there.
Yeah, read it by himself.
So I will be coming here from Rosa or Alexa. Oh, do you have any friends named Olivia? You know the story behind these questions, right?
That's
I
right.
have 2 nieces. They are 8 years old, and they don't have any Olivias in their school, and I know that. So every time I meet them, I say, "Do you have any friends named Olivia?" They say, "No." I said, "Why? Olivia is a very..." And you have ideas like to go at midnight to knock at the neighborhood doors and ask them if their kids named Olivia, so they can. And they're cheating them, you know. So they send me Facebook messages through their mom, telling, "Uncle Weil, don't talk to us about Olivia. We have no Olivia. We don't want to have friends named." Anyway, so when I come here from Alexa example, and I give the happy outcome, I will come here and say, and I'm here to talk to you about the top 5 challenges the top 5 challenges for happy life, or the top 5 challenges for fulfillment, or self-worth, or business, or saving your taxes, or whatever. The mistakes every nurse should avoid. The question is, why on the earth you are the most competent guy to talk to us about the challenges? So what's the answer for that? The answer is, in number 6, you have to start with your personal story. And I am here, so and so, and you should tell them why you are the most credible guy to talk about this title. You already create credibility by telling them what? A hook and the information nuggets. So you already establish yourself as the expert, or as the knowledgeable of the market. Now you have to talk to them about the problem and why. So how your personal story should be structured? Same way. What pain points did you get through? Defining moment, the happy outcome, and there are specific structure we always say, and out of my experience I developed this and this, and I am here to share with you my learning or my teaching, or I'm here to share with you how to do it. These are the 2 extra legs which is stand here. So the personal story is 5 legs. It's not 3. But the last 2 legs are very standard. Now, if you run programs or you want to do consultations, it's a little bit different. Here will be like a healer, will be like Shamir's presentation, like Mike, like we come from a different market, we know the pain point, and we have a program here and we want to solve it. But if you want to be in the area of rehired or reconsultant, the happy outcome will be how many customers did you make them happy? How many previous employers did you make them happy? How many previous contractor did you make them happy? Why they hired you? And here, what kind of problems you can solve and who you are. So during my, you go ahead.
So before you always had the personal story after the before the nuggets.
No, we always have the personal story after the title.
No, then you were calling the same thing on the information nugget. The third stage was the personal story. That's what
No, it was a story. It was
just a story. That was the story. It was not personal. It was something to communicate with.
It
that
was a
nugget.
story, not personal story. When you had personal story around the hook, it's too early. So when people want to make personal video and personal story around the hook, it's too early.
But a lot of people start with this story. It's wrong.
The question is how many of them will be able to sell at the end of the night.
Okay, the effectiveness.
Okay, the effective. So that's why if you want to have a video about you touring the place, and it doesn't matter, you can have it, you can still have it. However, the personal story here, it must be powerful. So my personal story is I was working for 27 years. And during my 27 years, I worked for for 6 companies, for example. And these companies will suffer from 1, 2, 3, 4, the pain points. Okay? And when I joined this company, and I want to talk in particular about number 4, you talk about more pain point. And when I did my work over there, they achieve, and you talk about their happy outcome. So the happy outcome will be quantified. When I go about Mike, for example, I say I will start my business. I had these issues, and I start to have my service maybe 7 years ago or 10 years ago, and we work maybe with like more than 1,000 customers in Calgary. And out of these customers, majority of these customers will have 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the pain points? And when they join my program and they use my techniques, or they use our techniques, or they use our contractor, or they use our service, they achieve the happy outcome. Make sense? So the personal story here, it's supposed to give you credibility to talk about this title. Okay? Make sense? And here we will make a stop, a checkpoint, and want to ask the same question. How much are you selling here, and how much are you educating here? We solve this question for this slide, that's right? So here, how much is selling and how much is information? Is it 100% information? Do you agree that this is 100% information? Is it 100% selling?
Stories are selling.
This is 100% selling. This is 100% selling. I am here talking about the pain point my company will solve. And why it's important for me to solve your problems. And the stories are what? Examples of situations. Examples of situations where I was successfully delivering my promise. But when you sit in the audience, will you see this as 100% selling?
No. You think they are information.
And they are true information, they are education. However, they are not general education. They are education focused on your service. They are storytelling about what you do. And this is part of the process of selling one-to-many, or running seminars, or running presentation. If you want to run a technical presentation, it can run in the same way. It will be more engaging. So when people having technical information, you can plug it in this approach. You can collect the information as info nuggets, and in technical presentation, most likely this will be a little bit mild. Now, coming on this slide here, How many sales and how many education here? This also is 100% selling.
This is sales. That top 5 is the sales.
These are selling.
Contract subject.
That's right. And this is what position you as
Executor.
the best executor for the sale. However, if anybody is sitting over the across of the table, he will feel what? He will feel this is his education package. So let's stop here, and then we can have a break in a few minutes, and we can continue the second part of this. So just want to go and can you reflect on this, Ryan? Like what's your wonders?
Pardon?
Are you wondering about anything here, or have any questions? Do you want to reflect on it?
No. I was a bit surprised that we had more. It seemed to have more before the personal story than before, but
It's exactly the same. I will get in the break. I'll get you the actual template we had.
yeah,
It's exactly the same.
it just seemed more. But no, it's a very good reminder and to get back into it.
Sure. And so, Nader, what's your feedback?
My feedback is I was just looking to see, have you closed by in the personal story? Have you closed the guy? I mean,
No, we are not closing. We still have.
have you brought the guy to final conclusion?
We still have.
There's more?
We still have 9 steps to go.
Oh no, there's 9 steps.
And there is the last step. I will not do it. The step 15. I will not do it
Yeah.
because it's a different. It's where you can put the offer, which is a different higher structure.
Oh, okay.
So usually it takes 3 days workshop to go through this one in details.
Oh, you break it up more?
Yeah, but this is just the 6 steps. So if you have all the time in your life and you wanna talk about any specific topic relevant to project management, my recommendation is you write in this way, or you sit in front of the camera and you talk. You give 15 minutes snippets in this way. What are the problems? What the info nuggets? Here is my title. Here is who I am, and then I will tell you after this when we come back from the break how you can use this. So this is not for selling. This is for just engaging, not selling.
You're still engaging the guys, I mean, to buying you, to accept
To
you,
agree
to
on the
agree
pain
with you.
points, to agree that you are the best solution for the pain points, and to agree that they want to achieve the happy outcome. So what's holding them from solving their pain point to their happy outcome is what? It's to hire you. That's it. Nothing else. Okay, Mike, any last?
So the personal story at the end is,
This is not the end. This is where we stop right now before the break.
I'm just wondering, so the other personal stories edified the nuggets. This one edifies the title.
This will give you credibility to talk about the title. And the title is what? Is the barrier, is the challenges.
Top 5 challenges.
Or the top 3 challenges based on whatever the challenges. So this will make you will conclude that you are now credible. So here where it
So
should
the other stories could be about someone else, but this one should be about you.
this should be about you. The other one is about somebody else. And the other one is about somebody else,
Right.
one of your customers, that's right?
Yeah.
Now, what kind of information will be important here? Relevant to your offer. So if your offer is about public speaking, your pain points, and you have to demonstrate here how many public speaking engagement you did. If your offer is about being invited as a keynote speaker, your BNG here is not important. That's right. How many keynote speaker did you do, and what makes them interesting? If your offer about education and learning or teaching a course, your pain point here and the defining moment will be about how you are a good teacher. If your offer here is about consultation, how you could be a consultant. If your offer here is about a service, your personal story has to back up the service. So any quantitative numbers, any degrees you have, any number of customers, you have to use them. Any kind of presence, any kind you stand, number of hours you travel. Like if I'm a if I'm international manager, I would say I spend 600,000 air miles on airplanes. I spent 280 days traveling the world. I was not tired. I was able to work right away. You can put me there, I will work. So this personal story is tailored to back up the challenges. The challenges are tailored to specific pain and to specific customer. So how many personal stories should you have?
Depends, at least 4 or 5.
Depends on number of presentations. Okay? The personal story will be pain point, defining moment, and happy outcome. And if you want to understand how to extract your authority in this area, we have a video course called Win Your Authority, where there is a structure how to extract the authority. So what we get through here is almost 1/3 of the show. We still have to go. There's something will come after the break. But what I want to say here is, this is like a copywriting. We go and pay people so much money to copyright paper and copyright marketing material. This is very similar technique. This is the copywriting of your talk. Any questions? So let's just have 15 minutes break. And
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.